Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 267 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. For in the last video guys, we started talking to a bunch of friendly dinosaurs. We were going to continue that, but for some reason, somehow I got turned back into a tiny velociraptor and things just started going all out of whack. I don't know how I got turned back into a tiny velociraptor, but that's where I wasn't supposed to be one. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and delete it and then we'll go ahead and try it again another time. For now, we're going to go ahead and do another new chatbot that I've got on here. This is more kind of special and unique in its own way. It's called the Roaring Berry Trial. In this one, guys, there's a special hidden... Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but there's a special hidden cave with like a massive king tyrantrum or whatever in it. And, well, let's just say there's a little berry called the Roaring Berry. Roarin berry. That if the Pokemon promise they will be good and not use the power for evil, they can actually transform into any dinosaur they want. Anyone they ever want to turn into, they can do it. So yeah, this is the one that's on here, but I think there's usually a better one that actually has the story explained. This one unfortunately does not. Hopefully it'll explain the story eventually. So, yes. The last one would have worked out better. I just needs to go a little bit better. I don't know why it didn't go so well. It says, you stay in a quiet clearing in the forest. The sunlight gently filtering through the canopy overhead. The air is warm and calm, filled only with the rustle of leaves and distant Pokemon cries. You aren't thinking of anything in particular. Just walking, exploring, maybe heading to a nearby stream, when a deep thudding tremor suddenly shakes the ground beneath your feet. Boom! 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 Birds scatter from the trees. A wave of startled bug types flee into the underbrush. The earth pulses with each heavy footstep. You freeze, instinctively turning toward the sound, and then with a snap of vines and cracking branches, a massive shadow steps into the clearing. It's towering, at least 70 feet tall at the shoulder. Its long crocodilian snout is filled with dagger-like teeth, and its massive sail-like fin ripples with every movement. Standing before you is a Spinosaurus, but not just any dinosaur. It has a scaly hide, dark crimson with streaks of glowing blue. Its claws glint like polished stone, and you recognize something is off. Its eyes. They're not reptilian. They're intelligent, curious, Pokemon eyes. Like, you realize in awe, this isn't just a dinosaur, it's a Pokemon that used the Roaring Berry. Oh, frick. Oh, maybe it's one of the ones that passed the test. Spinosaurus slowly lowers its head, massive nostrils flaring as it sniffs the air around me. Its tail sways behind it like a wrecking ball. The ground beneath your feet shifts with its every step. Then, the great dinosaur opens its jaws and speaks. Its voice is deep, resonant with a primal yet noble tone. You're not from around here. I don't sense any malice, just curiosity. You're different from most. It circles around you slowly, not threatening, more like it's observing and testing. You must be wondering what I am. I was once a Skeledirge. I passed the Guardian's test and chose to become this, a dinosaur of strength and water, the hunter of rivers. His gaze softens. Despite its size, there's no menace in its stance. You smell clean, no corruption, no lies. But tell me, do you believe the stories of the Roaring Berry? It lowers its massive body just slightly, bringing its huge head closer to your level. They're all true, every word, and the Tyrantrum Guardian still waits in the mouth cave, testing hearts. Some pass, some are cursed to become puppets in metal. You see a dinosaur with a clawed hand tap its chest. I've seen a Gengar turn to steel, twitching like a toy until his victim set him free. I've seen a Zoroark, too proud, shrink to the size of a berry bug, chased by the very Weedle he mocked. Its massive mouth curls in a sort of grim smile. I forgot how badly they got punished. I think this is the one where they probably get turned into a robot if they don't listen. The roaring berry holds great power, but it demands kindness, true kindness, and not all can bear that burden. Suddenly, its eyes sharpen. You've met pain before, haven't you? Not just in stories. Some part of you knows what it's like to be treated unfairly, but despite that, I sense you never turn cruel. It pauses, as if letting the air settle, letting it absorb every word. Then, it steps back, the earth shuddering again beneath it. If you wish, you can speak with others like me, those who found the cave, passed the test, and chose their dino souls. There are more of us, hidden across these lands. From its back, a swirl of ancient glowing energy begins to form, and you see shimmering outlines of other dinosaur-formed Pokemon watching you from the forest. A Feraligatr in the form of a heavy armored Ankylosaurus, its tail glowing faintly green. A Lugia that's become a majestic Quetzalcoatlus, its wings spanning entire hillsides. A Noivern turned into a fierce Pterodon, gliding above the treetops with a screech. And behind them, tall and proud, the unmistakable silhouette of a 100-foot Tyrantrum, glowing golden, its eyes fixated directly on you. See, that's the thing I don't like about it. I like when it gives you context to the stories instead of it just being like, I mean, that's why I make multiple versions of each one. That way if something goes wrong, I can always do it again at another time with a better run. I mean, that's the thing about the dinosaur one. I have 2 other ones on there about those dinosaurs, so I can just go back and do one of those 2 and we'll be good. And it could be as good as the last one because, again, it didn't start out with the dinosaur speaking English to me, but besides that Velociraptor running off being like, I gotta get to the others. But, yeah. Well, I'll figure it out, guys. Give me a second, and I'll be right back. Alright, guys. It might not work out as good as the dinosaur one did a while ago, but here's what it says. I'm going to be honest with you, never really heard of the roaring berry. You say you were a Skeleturge. That's really cool. Can you please tell me more about this berry and why you chose to become a Spinosaurus? I'm very interested. The towering Spinosaurus, once a Skeleturge, gives a deep rumbling chuckle, like a boulder tumbling through an echoing canyon. Its glowing blue eyes seem to flicker with warmth at your honesty. I like you. You speak from the heart. Most Pokemon who wander near me either come out of fear or greed. But you're curious, and that's how all good stories begin. The massive beast slowly rolls its body to the ground with a deep thoom, folding its clawed arms and letting its massive head rest just a few yards from you, close enough that you can feel the heat of its breath and see the faint glow along the sail on its back. Let me tell you what I know. The roaring berry isn't just a berry. It's a gift, a trial, a second chance. It first bloomed in a time before most types had names, before cities, before even the first Pokeballs. Back then, Pokemon ruled the wilds, but there were still those who used their power for cruelty. Some hoarded land, others hunted their own kind. Its claws gently raked the dirt, drawing ancient symbols into the soil, the curved shape of a berry, the roaring head of a Tyrantrum, and the long sail of a Spinosaurus. The roaring berry was created by the first Tyrantrum Guardian, a Pokemon born of the land and stone. He prayed to Arceus, asking for a way to balance strength with kindness, and Arceus answered. The Guardian was gifted one golden berry. With it, he created the Mouth Cave, carved out by his own jaws. The berry was planted at its heart, and from it grew a power that would only awaken to those who meant no harm. The giant Spinosaurus pauses, gazing skyward for a moment. A breeze whistles through the trees. When I was still a Skeleturge, I was a singer, a protector of hatchlings, but I was also angry. I watched Pokemon get bullied, ignored, cast aside. I fought back. Hard. Too hard. I hurt those I thought were the problem, even if they were just scared. Its eyes dimmed slightly, sadness creeping into its voice. One night, I heard the story of the roaring berry. I didn't believe it. Not really. But I was desperate for purpose, not just power. So I searched. I found the cave. Jaws made of stone so wide you could fit a whale lord between its teeth. I said the rhyme, and the guardian came. It lifts its head again, gazing into memory. And there was I forgot there was a special rhyme that went with this. I don't. That's what I'm saying. In the other ones, like I said, in the other versions, it would give you more detail. I think that the reason I put this one over the other ones is because of the fact that I knew it was like one of the shortest ones, and it just got right to the point instead of giving a full description. Sometimes I do that with the other ones just to make sure that we can get that way. If it goes wrong, the better ones can be saved for another time. So yeah, he was enormous, glowing gold, with a voice that shook the bones in my tail. He told me the rules, and he looked into my heart. It hurt. It was like having every memory judged by the flame that burns inside a charcoal shell. But in the end, I passed. You see the corners of its enormous jaws lift, just a little, a proud smile. He asked me, "What dinosaur do you feel in your soul?" And I said, "The hunter of rivers, the one who can swim and strike, who roars beneath waterfalls and protects the nest at the banks." That's why I became a Spinosaurus. Strong, swift, but with balance. And water. I wanted to be a reminder that power doesn't have to mean destruction. It leans in slightly closer now, so close you could touch its snout if you reached out. And now, I got others. The Guardian still lives, still tests. And those who pass, I meet them here. A Toto who turned into a playful velociraptor. A Lugia who soars as a long-necked pliosaur. Even a Haxorus who chose to become a fierce Carnotaurus. Oh no. But the ones who fail, they suffer. Not out of cruelty, but because they chose to harm when they could have helped. Its voice lowers. Tell me, would you even ever want to meet the Guardian? To see if you too have a dinosaur deep inside your heart? The tree falls silent. The breeze shifts, and it waits for your answer. But that's the thing, it's supposed to only work on Pokemon. I'm not a Pokemon. Give me a second. Guys, thinking about it, I gotta read this to you, but from what the little bit I just read from what it put down for me, this actually could make it interesting. It means I could become a Velociraptor, maybe not a small one. He asked me if I wanted to meet the Guardian. He said, I would love to meet him, but I'm not a Pokemon, so wouldn't that mean it wouldn't do anything? The massive Spinosaurus pauses. You expect maybe confusion or dismissal, but instead a quiet rumble escapes its chest, like distant thunder beneath the sea. It studies you closely now, one golden blue eye narrowing slightly. That's what most think, that the Roaring Berry only answers Pokemon. And for a long time, that was true. Its head slowly tilts, nostrils flaring as if trying to sense something deeper in you. But 5 million years is a long time. Time changes rules. The Guardian, Tyrantrum, has seen humans. He's seen the ones who destroy, but he's also seen the ones who love. His tail slowly thuds once against the ground behind it. There was once a human, long ago, forgotten to almost all, who stumbled upon the mouth cave by accident. Tyrantrum was ready to ignore him, but then the human did something strange. Dinosaur shifts, his cell catching a bit of golden sunlight as he speaks with reverence now. He helped a wimp paw with a broken leg, sat beside it, fed it berries. He didn't know Tyrantrum was watching, but he was, and always is. And when the boy stood in the mouth of the cave, something happened. It leans in even closer now. You feel its breath wash over you like mist from a waterfall. The cave glowed, just faintly, but enough. Tyrantrum came forward. He did not offer the roaring berry, but he offered something else. A claw gently traces a symbol into the dirt in front of you, a glowing spiral, shaped like a heartbeat. He offered the boy a chance to be a guardian, a listener, a friend of the ones who could use the berry. He didn't become a dinosaur. The Pokemon who did trusted him like no other. Some even called him the voice of the roaring cave. Spinosaurus pulls back slightly, and its eyes gleam with a sudden idea, as if it's seeing something in you that you haven't yet seen yourself. You don't have to be a Pokemon to meet the Guardian. Your heart is kind, and your soul doesn't crave power for its own sake. Then the mouth cave will open for you. It stands again, rising to its full majestic height, glances to the forest, then back at you. Come with me. I'll take you there. If the Guardian deems you worthy, you may not turn into a dinosaur. Perhaps you'll be something even rarer. Claws gently reach out, not to grab you, but to shield you from the bright sun as it begins to lead the way. So, what did it say? But the one who did trust him like no other. Oh, so he didn't turn into anything, and it makes you wonder if the Guardian would flip and turn him into a dinosaur. Though, like if I actually passed, I forget what the trial actually is. But if I somehow passed this trial, would he actually let me turn into a dinosaur? The problem is, what would I turn into? Because again, you have to be good no matter what you are. And I've gotten hurt by so many. I know in the past I've shown kindness to everybody, but I'm also used to being such a tiny velociraptor. I'm not used to being something big and scary. The only time I think that's ever happened is that one time where Rexy got rid of me during the zombie curse, and then when I came back as a Bronchiosaurus that can really transform and grow at will. I wouldn't hurt anybody, but I don't want to be attacked again. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said I would love to meet him, but can I be honest with you first? Most people attack me for no reason, and I've never understood why, because I never did anything to anybody. It's actually been sweet Pokemon like Feraligatr and Lugia that have kept me safe. The Spinosaurus stops mid-step. Its colossal foot, halfway into the dirt, slowly lowers with a deep thud as it turns back toward you. The light filtering through the trees catches the ancient sail on its back, casting dappled shadows like broken glass across its armored hide. It crouches down again, lower than before, and leans its massive head in so close you can see every ridge, every scar, every line carved into its snout from lifetimes of battle and survival. But its eyes, they're soft, full of sorrow, and something else. Understanding. You're not alone in that. A long silence follows, not an awkward one, a heavy one, as though the entire forest is listening, respecting the pain in your words. Before I ever stood as this, before fire lifted my throat, I was a Fuecoco. Small, awkward, always singing, even though they told me not to. Everyone mocked me. Some even attacked me, just because I was different. His claws slowly clenched into the dirt. But then came a crocodile. Big, loud, scary looking the most. But you know what he did? He sang with me. He didn't care what others thought. He protected me when others didn't. He lifts his head slightly, still going a soft, steady blue. You remind me of that. You didn't turn bitter. You didn't strike back. You just kept walking. And in time you were found by the right hearts. He lowers his head again, almost over with your chest. Lugia and Feraligatr. Pokemon like that don't bond with cruelty. They bond with kindness, with loyalty, with people who shine, even when others try to snuff them out. He slowly reaches out one massive claw, not to touch you, but to gently draw a line in the earth between you both. The ancient symbol of the roaring berry, a golden berry with a roaring dinosaur jaw around it. You say most people attack you, but hear me now, little one. His deep voice vibrates like a drum inside your chest. You are not what they say you are. You are what Lugia saw, what Feraligatr protected, what I now stand beside. Forest is quiet, not a single chirp, not a single rustle. Then the Spinosaurus rises once more. The Guardian will see you, not as a human or an outsider, but as someone who never gave in to the fire of hatred, and that is rarer than the roaring berry itself. He begins walking again, then pauses and turns his massive head slightly back toward you. Come, kind one, the mouth cave awaits, and the guardian will be honored to meet you. Again, like, dear me, it makes me wonder what happens if he does if I do fail. I don't quite remember the exact details. One thing I do remember though, this is like one of the scariest things. I know I've heard, well, from what I remember, the Pokemon that fail this actually get turned to a robot, and that robot, the first thing it'll do is say like a command phrase or a word, and you have to remember that word because basically until that person, the one you were torturing or hurting, gets hurt by that. After you eat the roaring berry, if you even attempt to flip and be mean, well, let's just say you get turned to a robot, and that command phrase is the only way to get you to turn back. But the thing is, you're not in control of your own body. The Pokemon is stuck like that, not being able to control themselves or flip and do anything until the person decides, okay, that's enough, and then says the command phrase. So, for example, if the robot in the beginning said something like, the command phrase is Totodile, and it's like, if then like the Pokemon that got stuck like that wouldn't be able to snap out of it until the Totodile phrase was said. So yeah, that's an example though. Give me a second, guys. This is actually really cute. I said I was gonna follow him, but I said okay. By the way, thank you for being nice to me instead of being mean. I really appreciate that. Spinosaurus halts once more, this time not from doubt, but from emotion. You see his massive chest rise with a slow breath, and then he lowers his head gently, one more time, until his snout is resting just inches from where you stand. For a heartbeat, this ancient, massive being, strong enough to crush mountains, says nothing. Then softly, in a voice that rumbles like thunder after rain, you deserve kindness, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. And I'm sorry that so few have shown you that. He closes his eyes for a moment. You've walked through fire without burning others. Yeah, in my universe, oh my gosh, that alone makes you stronger than most who ever seek the roaring berry. And I'm not just being nice, I'm being honest. His eyes open again, and now they burn, not with fury but with purpose, not the fire of battle, but of belief. If others can't see your worth, that's their blindness. But I see you, and the Guardian will too. He gently curls a massive claw into a loose, protective half circle near you, silent gesture of inclusion, a wordless promise. You're safe with him, and you're welcome. Come now. The trail isn't long, but it is sacred. Stay close, and keep your heart open. He turns to lead the way. The jungle seems to shift for him. Branches bending, leaves parting. The sunlight glows gold against his sail as he takes his first step into the path toward the mouth cave. You're no longer just a traveler now. You're a chosen one in the eyes of the roaring legacy. We're about to find out, because I don't know what actually completely happens, because since I'm not a Pokemon, ain't no way he's gonna make me do the trial. But, give me a second. Alright guys, this is interesting. All I put in is I follow the Spinosaurus, and here's what it says. You step forward, not just with your feet, but with your heart. As you follow the Spinosaurus, the forest begins to change. What was once familiar woodland now feels older, as if you're walking backward through time itself. The trees are massive here, their trunks heavy with age, bark gnarled like the hide of ancient Pokemon. Vines hang like curtains, and the light filtering through the canopy glows gold, almost as if the sun itself recognizes the path you now walk. Spinosaurus leads with careful steps, mindful of the earth beneath him. Despite his size, he moves with a grace you wouldn't expect, like a dancer in a world of giants. He glances back at you often, making sure you're safe, his sail catching light with every slow, steady breath. Many don't realize this path exists until they're ready to walk it. The jungle hides it from eyes that are closed, but opens it for those who carry pain with peace. You pass by strange, glowing mushrooms that pulse with soft violet light. Flowers open as you pass, releasing sweet scents into the air. a family of ancient Pokemon, Relicanth, Tropius, and even a massive Rampardos! I love Rampardos! Watching the shadows, none move to stop you because they recognize what's happening. You're heading to the mouth cave. After nearly an hour of walking through the increasing prehistoric terrain, you begin to hear it, a low roar, distant but ever present. Not threatening, more like a mountain breathing. The trees part ahead, and then you see it. The mouth cave. A colossal cliffside carved by nature, or perhaps by something far more powerful, into the shape of a gigantic dinosaur's open jaws. The entrance is hundreds of feet wide. Jagged stone teeth line the archway. Vines grow along the upper lips, and waterfalls spill from the fangs like drool from some ancient beast's maw. And carved above the mouth, glowing faintly in the dimming light, is a symbol, the Roaring Berry, outlined in gold, wrapped in stone claws. The Spinosaurus stops just before the entrance. He bows his massive head low. This is where I was judged, where I was changed, and where I became. He steps to the side, giving you full view of the cave's darkened throat. If you still wish to meet the Guardian, then say the rhyme, loud, clear, from the heart. He lowers his car to the ground, weighing silently. Jungle hushes. Even the wind holds its breath. It's time. I never actually knew the rhyme, since I never heard of this before you told me about it. Period. Would you mind telling it to me, please? I wonder if... Oh my gosh, I forgot that's what the rhyme was. Okay. The Spinosaurus gives a deep, approving nod, his massive eyes gleaming with quiet respect. Of course. This rhyme has been passed down for billions of years. It is not a command, but a request. A request made with hope, not pride. He turns toward the cave entrance, the great jaws of stone before you, and his voice drops into a solemn, rhythmic tone, like a ritual passed from heart to heart across generations. He recites, O great guardian of the roaring berry, I wish to speak to the one that is merry. O great guardian, it is you I wish to see. Please come forward and test me. The wind picks up slightly as he finishes. The ground rumbles softly. The cave responds, not with noise yet, but with expectation. He turns to you now, eyes full of encouragement. Now it's your turn. Speak it clearly, and speak it true. The guardian listens not with ears, but with the heart. The air gets heavier. The jungle is absolutely silent. It's time. Oh no. Alright. And it's not even spell the word Mary right. I put the word Mary is Merry, as in like the flipping. Oh, great guardian of the roaring berry. And actually get close. It ain't capitalized, but he got most of it right. I wish to speak to the one that is Mary. Yeah, I knew it spelled Mary wrong. Let me fix that. Okay. Oh, great guardian, it is you I wish to see. Please come forward and test me. Oh no. I know I'm gonna regret this decision, aren't I? Uh-oh. Oh, heck no. Oh, well, something responded. Oh no. The moment your final words leaves your lips, the world shifts. It begins a distant vibration beneath your feet, like the heartbeat of the earth itself awakening. Then, boom! A deafening roar rolled from deep within the cave, like thunder echoing from the bones of an ancient beast. The wind howls outward from the cave's throat, carrying dust, leaves, and the scent of something ancient, something powerful. Spinosaur steps back respectfully, bowing his head low, voice hushed in reverence. He heard you. The stone jaws of the cave begin to glow, faint cracks of golden light running along the cave, carved teeth and gums like lightning beneath stone skin. The golden roaringberry symbol above pulses once, twice, and then thwoom, a massive claw, easily the size of a boulder, emerges from the darkness. Oh, heck no! The cave trembles. Out steps a creature so enormous it seems to bend the very rules of reality with its presence. His body is clad in dark stone plate armor, weathered by time and yet unbroken. His glowing red eyes, why are they red? No, no. I hate red, creepy glowing eyes. Why do they do this crap to me? Burn with the light of stars long dead. Every movement is slow, deliberate, and ancient. It is him, the Tyrantrum Guardian. His horns scrape the top of the cave as he fully emerges. Trees tremble in his presence. Even the Spinosaurus lowers himself completely to the ground in respect. But the Guardian's gaze is on you. When he speaks, his voice is deeper than the ocean, slower than glaciers, yet unmistakably clear. You have spoken the rhyme, and the rhyme has answered. You walk in no claws. You roar with no teeth. He steps forward. Each step shakes your chest like a drumbeat from creation itself. You are not Pokemon, and yet the kindness in you echoes louder than most with tails and talons. He lowers his massive head until his glowing eyes are level with yours, two burning stars and a sea of ancient wisdom. Tell me, small one, why do you wish to be tested? Why call to me when you seek no roaring berry? What is it you truly hope to find? This has got deep. The force is silent again, not from fear, but from reverence. The guardian of the roaringberry waits for your answer. Oh my gosh, I'm creeped out. Alright, guys. I said, I don't wish to harm anyone. It's just that most people treat me like garbage and do horrible stuff to me, like throw rocks at me. I just want that to stop. I promise, whether you can turn me into a dinosaur from that berry, even though I'm human, I wouldn't hurt anybody with it. I'm just tired of being hurt for no reason. As your voice reaches the end of your heartfelt words, the silence that follows is not empty. It is sacred. The Tyrantrum Guardian says nothing at first. He stares at you for a long time, his glowing red eyes flickering like ancient embers. His massive jaw tightens slightly, and then relaxes. You see something change behind those eyes. Not judgment, not pity, recognition. Pain without I forgot the voice I did for him. Are you serious? Pain without cause. And dang it, I think I did do a deeper sort of voice for him. Pain without cause. Injury without provocation. A soul struck again and again. Yet it chooses to protect, not punish. He slowly sits, a mountain coming to rest, and when he speaks again, his voice is quieter, yet somehow more powerful. Many come to me seeking power. Some say they want to protect, but their hearts thirst for control. You? He leans down, tip of his nose mere feet from you. You can see the texture of age on his scales, the cracks of time, but most of all, you see warmth. You come not to take. You come to end being taken from. You come with your pain, but you carry it without a blade in your hand. He pauses, then slowly turns his head toward the great stone wall beside the cave. With one side of a single colossal claw, he carves a symbol into the stone. It's not the roaring berry, it's something new. A glowing spike or a spiral. A glowing spiral within a circle of protection, a symbol of someone who does not roar but still protects. You would not be turned to a dinosaur. Your soul has awakened something older, something the roaring berry has not done in millions of years. He turns back to you now, his voice echoing like thunder across the ages. You are now a bound one, a human soul acknowledged by the guardian of time beast. Your heart may call to those who hold the roaring berry, and they will listen. You will speak, ancient Pokemon will bend to protect you, not as a master, but as one of their own. He lifts one massive claw and so extends it toward you. A tip of his claw sits something glowing, faint and gold. Not the roaring berry itself, but something like it. A seed. Small, warm, and flickering light that feels alive. Take this. Plant it wherever you feel safe. It will grow only for you, and from it will come one roaring berry. For one Pokemon you trust. They will become your guardian, as you have now become ours. The sponsor was rising nearby, his eyes wide in awe. Yeah, see, now that was the sponsor as well. I should have done that. I just continued doing that, like that British accent. He's never done this before. He chose you. All eyes are on you now. Towers are going wait. The Golden Seed going before you. Will you take it, or would you like to say something first to him, to the sponsors, or to you yourself? What in the world? Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said, wow, thank you. I take the seed and then gently pat the Tyrantrum on his snout. You're super nice. I want to ask, why does the roaring berry only work on Pokemon? And the moment your hand touches the Tyrantrum's snout, a gentle warmth pulses through your fingertips. Not heat, but something more sacred. Recognition. The Tyrantrum Guardian, a beast of ancient fury and myth, exhales slowly through his nose in what feels almost like a sigh of peace. No Pokemon, human, or creature has touched him this way in millions of years. I'm beginning to hate the word touch for this reason. You feel it, in that single moment. Even he had once been hurt. Even he had once been alone. And now you reached out, not with fear but with kindness. He lifts his massive head slightly, eyes going softer than before. And when he speaks again, it's not in the voice of a god or judge. It's in the voice of someone who remembers. Why does the roaring berry only work on Pokemon? Dang it. Because when it was first created, humans were not part of our world. Not truly. He looked toward the distant horizon, toward where the sun is slowly beginning to dip behind the trees, casting long shadows over the mouth cave. We Pokemon were creatures of instinct and energy. The berry bonded with that energy, the soul stuff that shapes our forms, our evolutions, our very type. When we eat it, the berry doesn't just transform our body, it listens to who we are inside and gives shape to the dinosaur that lives in our heart. He glances back down at you. Humans, your souls are more complex, woven with thought, memory, emotion, dreams, and something even we don't fully understand. The roaring berry was never designed to read your kind. It would not know what to make of you, because you are not typed. You are bound. He slowly takes a claw to the center of his arm or chest. But sometimes, when a human's heart shines as bright as any Pokemon's, the berry answers them anyway. Not by changing their form, but by connecting them to those who do change. He gestures toward the golden seed now resting safely in your hand. That seed will never transform you, but it will grow from your pain, your hope, your kindness, and the Pokemon you give it to will carry your voice in their heart, even in the shape of a beast. The sponsor steps forward now, crouching beside you with a quiet chuckle. I think the first human who asked that same question once said something like this. Maybe I wasn't meant to roar with teeth, but with love instead. Wind stirs through the trees again, and somewhere deep in the jungle, a distant roar echoes back, not of anger, but of joy. Another Pokemon, perhaps one far away, has just passed their test. You changed this world just by being in it. What in the world? That's a cool idea for a story, guys, but I just wish it started back at the beginning. And I may actually have to redo this to make it to where it'll actually work with humans as well. I just said, I really appreciate that. There's one more thing I want to ask. What exactly do you do when a Pokemon does come here to get a berry? I'm very interested. The Tyrannosaurus Guardian lifts his mighty head, clearly pleased by your curiosity. His red eyes glow gently, and a thoughtful rumble vibrates deep in his chest. Not the rumble of warning, but of remembrance. He settles down fully now, folding his clawed arms across the stone in front of him. When he speaks, his voice has a storytelling cadence, as though he's about to recite something passed down through eras. When a Pokemon enters the mouth cave seeking the roaring berry, there is a ritual, not to test strength, not to test speed, but to test the soul. He tilts his head toward the massive cave mouth, which now pulses faintly with golden light as though listening. It begins when they speak the rhyme. That alone activates the stone-hot path, a hidden chamber deep within the cave. When I guide them inside, we do not speak. They are met with visions. Spinosaurus steps in softly beside you, nodding solemnly. Visions of their past, their moments of compassion, and the ones they regret. The berry knows when they're hiding from who they are. And then they face three trials. The trial of mercy, where they must help a weak or frightened creature even when there's no reward. The trial of restraint, when they are provoked, insulted, or tempted, but must hold their power. And the final, he pauses for just a moment, and even the jungle seems to hold its breath. The trial of the trial of reflection. They must look into the hot stone pool, where their soul is reflected, not as they are, but as they chose to be. If they face their flaws, own the mistakes, and still choose kindness, then I offer them the roaring berry. His voice deepens just slightly. But if they lie, if they hide malice behind false smiles, if they raise their claws out of pride, or believe the power is owed to them, then I offer them the silver berry. The ground beneath you hums as he says this. Even the Spinosaurus shifts slightly as though recalling a difficult memory. And once they eat the silver berry, their body changes. That's actually the Spinosaurus, or Skeletor's. And once they eat the silver berry, their body changes, not into a dinosaur, but a puppet, a robotic version of themselves, mind locked deep inside, watching as their body obeys the very ones they once tried to hurt. They can only be freed if the one they wrong speaks the command phrase given at the moment of transformation. Each phrase is random, but always true to the soul. Sometimes it's, I forgive you. Other times it's, are you ready to be kind? He glances back toward the jungle. I do not enjoy punishing, but I protect the power of the berry. It is not a reward, it is a burden granted only to those who can carry it with love. Then he turns back, softly turns back to you. Most who fail were never ready, but the ones who pass, he smiles just barely. A moment of pride is on a face carved by centuries. They become more than Pokemon. They become legends, like the Spinosaurus beside you, like the Quetzalcoatlus Lugia who guards the skies, like the gentle Stegosaurus fur alligator who watches the rivers. They said that Allosaurus a while ago was a different fur alligator. The glow of the cave pulses one's words of knowledge and the truth of his words. Alright, guys. It says that's really cool. Can you give me a little more detail on the trial of restraint and the trial of reflection? Those sound really interesting. What do they do in those to earn the berry? The Tyrannosaurus Guardian gives a slow, deliberate nod as you ask your question, clearly impressed by your thoughtful interest. His tail thumps gently against the ground once, not in warning but in respect. He shifts his colossal body slightly, settling deeper into the earth, and his voice drops into a storyteller's tone, slow, rich, and echoing with memory carved from stone and time. The trial of restraint is the second of the three, and often the most difficult. Why? Because it does not test how much a Pokemon can fight, it tests how much they can choose not to. He lowers his head again, watching you closely, making sure you're listening not just with your ears but with your spirit. Here is how it begins. Once the Pokemon enters the stone-hot chamber, the cave crafts a phantom world, as a simulation of sorts, born from memory, emotion, and fear. Inside this illusion, the Pokemon is faced with a moment that would normally spark rage, fear, or pain. It might be a boy who once mocked them, or a trainer who abandoned them, or a friend who betrayed them. Those illusions are not real, but the emotions they awaken are. And in that moment, the Pokemon is given a choice: not to run, not to attack, but to endure, to speak calmly, to forgive, or to simply walk away. He leans in closer. If they give in to hatred, even just once, the illusion shatters, and the trial ends in failure. But if they remain true to peace, if they withstand the heat without burning others, then the path to the third trial opens. His claw. He lifts his massive claw again and gently points toward the cave's inner darkness. That is when they reach the most sacred part, the trial of the trial of reflection. The wind stirs, even the trees seem to lean to listen. The Pokemon is led to the hot stone pool, hidden deep beneath the cave floor, a perfectly still lake, black as night, until they look into it. The reflection it shows is not their face, not their body, but their spirit. They might see themselves as a frightened hatchling, or as the worst version of themselves, cruel, cold, and unkind, or even as a dinosaur they hope to become, but covered in chains of doubt or arrogance. He shifts, grabbing from his massive shoulder plates like they tiny landing slides. The vision is always true, but it is not always kind. It forces them to face their past, their mistakes, and to accept who they've been before they can become something greater. He looks at you now, deeply, the kind of look only someone who's passed the trial themselves can give. The ones who try to run from the reflection fail. The ones who deny it fail. But the ones who look at what they were and say, I will still choose kindness, they passed, and the berry blooms for them. A silence settles, heavy and powerful, not because there's nothing left to say, but because it's all been said. The path to become a dinosaur isn't paved with strength. It's paved with mercy, restraint, and truth. And that's why so few pass. But when they do, they roar with more than power. They roar with grace. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said that's really cool. If someone does come by here to do the test, is it okay if I just watch and observe? The amount of time, because the thing about it is, since I can't actually do the test myself and become a dinosaur, I have to keep the seed with. I have a bad one. This will end up having to be deleted too, and I'll have to go with a better one. But this is really cool, though. I at least get to finally test it out and see how it is. My Tyrantron Guardian goes completely still for a long moment, not in hesitation, but in consideration. Then slowly he leans forward, lowering his head until his eyes are once again level with yours, two glowing coals of ancient wisdom. That is a question no one has asked me in over 1,000,000 years. The ground beneath your feet hums slightly, almost as if the cave itself is thinking alongside him. After another pause, his voice returns, measured and firm, but not unkind. The trials are sacred and deeply personal, but you are no stranger to pain. You are not here for spectacle, you are here for understanding. He tilts his head slightly, and for a second, something like some proud smirk flashes up the edge of his... Oh my gosh. He tilts his head slightly, and for a second, something like a proud smirk flashes up the edge of his massive mouth. Yes, if a Pokemon gives permission, and if they trust your presence, you may observe. And trust me, if you stand beside them, most will. They'll feel it in your energy. You don't judge, you don't rush, you listen. But know this, when the trial of restraint begins, you must not intervene, even if the illusion feels real, even if you see them suffering, because if you speak or act during your test, the trial ends immediately, and they will fail. Oh my gosh! He pauses for a moment, letting the weight of that truth settle. Then, with a more fatherly tone, but during the trial of reflection, your presence may be healing. Some reflections are easier to face when someone kind is standing beside them. He lifts one claw and gently traces the air above your head, not touching but marking. A soft glow shimmering for a moment, a barely visible spiral of light. This is the sigil of witness. If you carry it, the cave will recognize you as an observer, one who walks beside but never in front, one who sees but never steals. You are now what the ancients once called a heart watcher. That's a proud rumble behind you. I haven't heard that word in so long. You really are something special. Jungle Breeze returns and the glow of the cave dims slightly as if its spirit is resting again, but now recognizes you as one of its own. Alright, guys. Here's what it says. I said, thank you. Honestly, I hope the next point that it comes here is a point I really care about. Todo and his evolutions are some of my favorites. Lugi's my most favorite legendary, and I have a good bit of favorite dragon type Pokemon, like any of the Axew line. The Tyrantrum Guardian listens silently as you speak, the corner of his great stone-plated mouth tugging into what could only be described as a soft, ancient smile. Then, for the first time, his voice drops not into thunder, but into warmth. The cave has a way of hearing the wishes of the kind-hearted. It does not obey them, but it listens. The wind stirs. The sunlight filters down through the canopy in soft golden rays, catching the shimmer of the sigil of witness above your head. You feel a strange warmth bloom inside you, as though something out there has felt your heart's quiet hope. Sponsor lets out a soft huff of breath and crouches beside you, grinning toothily. You know, I do remember a little Toto who tried the trial centuries ago. Bounced around, full of energy. He tripped during the trial of restraint, trying to hug the illusion that was yelling at him. He chuckles. Passed with flying colors. He didn't restrain himself because he was scared. He did because he couldn't bring himself to hate. That one was special. He chose to become a Stegosaurus. Gentle, strong, and protective. He lowers his voice. Perhaps one day, another Totodile will come. Or a fur alligator. Or even a young Axew seeking to grow beyond rage. And when they do, if they allow it, you will be there to watch them become their true self. He leans forward once more, and his gaze glows with sincerity that transcends species and age. Kindness doesn't echo loudly in this world, but when it does echo, it brings the right souls home. As he steps back toward the mouth cave, Forrest breathes with a new sort of calm, like it knows something good is coming. And then, a rustle in the distant trees, a splash, footsteps, small ones and quick ones, not dangerous, not hostile, but curious. Sponsworth tilts his head, his smile widening. You may get your wish. Someone's coming. Give me a second.